Hello to you, my crafty friends. Eileen here. Right, so yesterday I did a live on the Simply Sweet Puppy Stencils Facebook group page, and the audio was awful to begin with, and it made me feel quite uncomfortable as I was watching it back, so I thought that's got to go then. So I'm going to re-record and demonstrate to you this card with the tall pumpkin stamp from Sweet Puppy Stencils, and of course their beautiful Peace Lily, I think is the name of this stencil that was released this week. And then the next video I will show you how I created this. So we're going to have two recordings, and hopefully one will follow the other fairly swiftly. This one obviously is the same as this one, except I've used the beautiful sunflower stencil and the smaller pumpkin. Let me show you how. I've taken a piece of cardstock, 13 centimetres by 13 centimetres, and this is ivory cardstock from Paper Mill Direct. It's really lovely and smooth, and I just like the ivory tone to the card. So starting off with the gorgeous new stencil from Sweet Puppy Stencils. You'll find it on the website, and it's called, I think it's the Peace Lily. I'm using the back of my stamp press, along with, which I'm reaching for now, along with a piece of copy paper to protect the back from any stray ink. Pop on my cream coloured card and the stencil. Now the stencil, I need to line it up so that the whole stencil really isn't on the card. I've left the top of the lily sort of going off the end of the top of the card in this design. So pop that down there, and using my magnets, that should hold everything in place. Did you hear that? Really grips, doesn't it? Safe and sound, hopefully. Okay, now I'm just covering up these edges of cardstock that are showing through, because I don't really want any surplus ink getting on that. And I'm using Sweet Puppy Stencils low-tack stencil tape. A makeup brush I'm going to use this for the green tones. And then another makeup brush for the blue tones, which is hiding from me. There it is. I believe this is the blue one. Looks like it, yep. And the inks I'm using are archival inks. And this is the Wendy Vecchi designer series from Ranger, Periwinkle, a really, really pretty blue. Along with another gorgeous colour, Seagrass in archival from Ranger. Sweet Puppy Stencils has just started to sell archival inks. I'm not sure if they have these colours in stock, but they've got loads of others, so pop over and have a look. I really love my archivals. It's the transparent feature that I love of them. And the fact that they dry quite quickly helps as well. So starting off with blue, loading the brush, but then taking a bit off. Let me just see if you're seeing this okay, yeah. And I'm just starting on the lily. Circular motion, A little bit of ink at a time. Don't flood your brush with ink. A bit more on this one. Not bothered obviously about the top that isn't on the card. There wouldn't be any point, would there? There we are. I'm still allowing a little bit of white space at the top of each flower as well. And now onto the green. And for the leaves, and this is quite a wet pad. I'm not doing the stems down the bottom, they'll be hidden by the pumpkin. Again, a little bit of white space, or cream space in this case, left there. And then back to the blue, just to give a few shadows and tones to the top of the leaf. Bit of dimension. And to this one. Pressing quite firmly, quite a bit of pressure. All right, let's see what that looks like. Perfect. Clean my stencil. When I'm using archival ink, sometimes a bit of soap and water doesn't work. I do need isopropyl alcohol. But normally, to be honest, if I just wipe them over quite quickly with a dry cloth, that should be sufficient. Mind your fingers, they're really sharp, the stencils. If you are washing them, use a brush, like, you know, washing up brush. Next, I'm going to stamp in Nocturne. And the stamp that I'm doing is the beautiful tall pumpkin from Sweet Poppy Stencils. So let's turn over the stamp press. I'm using a Misty. I've got a sticky grid sheet in place. These last for quite some considerable time. Yes, they pick up a lot of rubbish, and as you can see, but the tack is still there, still tacky, will still do the job. So down goes the card. Oh, actually I need it this end so I can see a little bit better. And 2 magnets. And then my lovely pumpkin. That in the middle. Just checking the original card to see if I've got the placement right. Looks like a plan to me. Maybe over a little bit more. Yes. And make sure this is straight, this pumpkin. Like so. Can go up a bit too, I think. Yeah. So there's a bit of a gap there at the bottom so that I can ground it. Whoops. Every time I think that that's it, it moves. Little devil. Okay, that'll do me. And, oh yes. Nocturne. I'm using a Speedball Baron. Hands are really stiff as I'm getting older. Any pressure tool will do. It's lovely, but it needs to be a little bit deeper. perfect. I just clean the stamp off with a damp cloth, so don't make too much fuss. Sorted that. Now, you'll need to make sure before you start colouring that this image is thoroughly dry, and I would recommend leaving it either a couple of hours or use a heat gun on it and just make sure it is dry, because I'm using polychromos pencils, and sometimes they can make the ink move if it's not quite dry. And so, I mean, this is an archival. This is quite a fluid ink, this VersaFine Clair. So I have prepared another card, cheating, that I know is thoroughly dry before moving on to show you the colouring. And I just need to find it because it's hiding. And here it is. So this was made more or less, well, it's identical to the last one that you saw. And I made this yesterday evening before I went to bed. And then I'm into the colouring, which I love. So what do I need? Well, I need some pencils. You don't have to have polychromos. You can use any pencils you like, as long as they've got the ability to blend colour, blend into each other. So anything will do, as long as they blend. I need some reds, and I need a deep blue. That's Prussian blue. I'm looking for a darker one still. Oh yeah, my favourite, indigo blue. And then I need, well, let's have an orange, why not? And some yellows and lemons. Okay, I think that probably, oh, shall I have a brighter orange too? Yes, go mad. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go for a red. There we are, a good selection. And away we go. So I'm starting off with the paler colours first. As you can see, I'm just sort of giving a layer down. You can see the stems of the lily here reflected in the top of the pumpkin. That doesn't matter, it's art, so I'm not bothered about that. You've got to see the image, it's so pretty. A bit of red. Bit too early for red, Eileen, yes. I know, should have carried on with the yellow. So back to the yellow then. Just laying down a bit of colour. And then onto orange again. You'll notice all these dark areas here in the design, and they're there as a guide. So I use them in the way I use them, I'm sure is probably the proper way. The darker the design is, the darker colour I use. I think that's how it works. I'm not an expert in this colouring in lark, but I know what I like. What's this one? Magenta. Really pretty colour. Don't worry about going outside the lines. If it's crayons, you can always rub those out. And then I'm going to go on to a deep blue, really dark blue, indigo blue, right at the bottom here. And then along the bottom of the pumpkin, I'm just doing a bit of grounding using the indigo. And a bit of orange as well. And maybe even a bit of magenta. Why not? And then back to the indigo blue. And then I'm using an eraser now. Now this eraser, and I know Lucy from Sweet Poppy Stencils is getting some of these in. She has the original eraser that I used to use, which was a sand eraser, so both ends with sand. This one has got the sandy, really gritty part of the eraser, this end, and this end is a soft rubber, so that you've got an ideal eraser for getting rid of any unwanted marks. And what I do with this is to blend with it my colouring in. So I'm using the sandy end first, pressing quite firmly. And this is why you did need that ink to be thoroughly dry, because I'm really moving the colour. And it would have moved the ink if it was still wet. And I need a brush just to get rid of the marks. And this is the first time of using it. And this is where you erase a bit of colour, add a bit of colour, back again. So what you're doing is you're looking to please your eye. That's what I'm doing. I'm not looking to follow any rules. I'm not looking to please others, although obviously you really would like others to like your design. But initially, I like the colouring to please me. And I look at it and say, cool, that's good. And if I can achieve that, then I stop. And I'm achieving it my way with a few crayons and an eraser and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then rub it out and start again and add a bit more. Just generally play. I'm rushing this a bit, but sometimes I can take up to half an hour just playing. However, the card is going, after 30 minutes of me playing around with an eraser, it's going, oh no, not again. Oh, I have to stop myself from going into a hole here. Because not all cardstock likes this sand eraser, I will tell you that. Have a play on all different cardstocks and see what results you get. And when I'm using inks and I'm using the eraser, I have to be careful, because obviously the eraser is breaking the fibres of the card. And if you're using inks, you will find that the cardstock becomes more porous as you break the fibres and damage it. And the inks that you're laying down will look a lot darker as they're sucked into the card. So they won't be true colours. But that, you don't have the problem with pencils. Don't have the same problem. See, I'm quite liking that now. A little bit darker. Going back up the pencil, the further away you hold your pencil, the lighter the colour will be. And you won't get so many pencil streaky marks either. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the dark. I do like a bit of drama, yeah. Story of my life, that is. 3 kids, 2 marriages, loads of drama there. And the ferrets, but we won't go into the ferrets, no. Bless them. So there we are. A bit more. The trick with this is to learn when to stop. And I'm almost there. I'm going to look away. I'm going to look away from my work. I'm going to have a sip. Oh, I've got to do the grounding. But beg your pardon with this. I didn't blend my grounding in and it looks abysmal. All streaky and pencil marks. Don't want that. That's a bit better. A little bit more, I think. Again, a bit more drama. Bit of a blend again. Again, just play. Just play about. You can't do any harm. And at the end of the day, if it's rubbish, you just throw it away, don't you? So, quite liking that. It's a bit more dramatic than that one. Look. They're totally different, but I like them both. That one's got a bit more blue in it here. So, it's Halloween. We've got to go a bit darker colour, haven't we? Yeah, look. That's nice. I'm going to stop now. Well, I might do. Can I do this bit? No, stop lining because you're going too far. Okay, stop then. What about this leaf at the side? Can I have a go at that? Maybe. Don't overdo the leaf though, eh? No. Blend it in again. And then the final one. We've got some more white space back there. I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to leave it there. I've got to stamp the word fall, as in falling leaves, or the time of year. I think our friends in America call autumn fall, don't they? The fall. I did have a stamp. Here it is. It's hiding. Now the word fall here, the font, it's a lovely font, and this is from a set of stamps that Lucy stocks from Stampscape Stamps. It's a whole plate of different words and all different fonts, and it is my go-to. It is never far from my desk, that plate. I really love them. And this was ideal because of the space I had. When I'm stamping anything, I look at the area and that decides really what stamp I'm going to use. The size matters more than what it actually says. You know, I can't put a really long Happy Halloween in there. It would ruin the whole design. So the word fall sums it up perfectly. I think some of my friends will tell you, I often tell the story that I made a birthday card for one of my daughters. And she said to me, Mum, why did I get It's a Boy on my birthday card? I said, well, I had a small gap and it was the only stamp that would fit, that looked good with the rest of the design. It was balanced. She went, oh, okay. But my kids know me now. So gentle tapping, and hopefully I can make sure this is straight. Press lightly and up. Gorgeous. And the final thing to do, or in fact there's two things to do here. I'm going to edge this card all round, protect the card from inky fingers. Don't look if you're squeamish. Use a ruler if you want to, if you're going to do this, or just dig in and it edges itself. Like so. And then a tiny amount of black Posca paint. And the stamp that I cleaned earlier will be my mask. So this is clean now, this stamp. I don't want any of this black paint on the stamped area. So cover it up. And I need something to whack. So this is my whacking stick. Just testing. Oh, good. Don't overdo this, Eileen. Okay. That'll do. Less is more. Off comes the stamp. As a card blank, I believe, yeah. This piece of card here is 12 by 12 centimetres. I'm not sure if I gave you the wrong size. I think this is 12 by 12 centimetres. And the whole card is 15 by 15. Let me check the original, because this is the other one. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sorry, as you were. This is 13 centimetres by 13 centimetres, this topper. I've just given you the wrong size. I gave you the right size at the beginning of the video. 13 centimetres by 13 centimetres, and it's on a card blank that is 15 centimetres. And it just fits nicely in there. So, that's video tutorial number 1. Look, it's early in the morning, okay? I haven't had my coffee yet. And I'll be with you again shortly with video tutorial number 2. Pop that there. Coffee. Completed cards. That was fun. I enjoyed it. And I hope you do too. Thanks for looking. Back in a moment. Bye for now.